Ever played Vanquish? Nope. Ooh, treasure, bronze scrap. Ooh, silver chest. Hammer pendant. I guess I should just go in here and see if there's like anything that I don't have. Amber doll. Oh, that's her weapon, I think. Oh, nice. I'll get some of those. Of course, yeah, being able to, like, be objective and, you know, like, ask about the things that you want and, you know, talk to developers, they're going to get a better idea of what people want. You know, the more people that talk about the things that they want, the more that can be done. Your voice matters. But if you scream and yell and complain and bitch and moan, your voice doesn't really matter. They're just going to they're just going to roll their eyes and tell you to shut up. My favorite horror game? I'm a big Resident Evil fan. Really looking forward to the RE3 remake. We'll be playing that, by the way. The RE3. We already played the RE2 remake. I'm not gonna wait till Halloween to play RE3 remake, though, like I did with RE2, because I'm not in the middle of the Fiesta or anything.
Did the Sylph J reach your men?
Yeah, they're scouting the checkpoints.
They're not back yet?
No, but they won't be long.
Let's rest for a bit. I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
Vassal.
The scouts are back now.
Hey, Tatopolis, thank you for the 15 months of lurking, man. Thank you for that support, dude. Wait, what? Why is it evening now? Why don't we just go? FF15's a fantastic game.
You managed to get some? Shh, idiot. Not so loud. Behold, the finest drink there is, Ileana Red. If Benwick and the others find out we have it, they'll drink the whole thing.
Wait, you didn't tell them about it?
Of course not. Those guys couldn't care less what they stuff down their gullets, as long as it gets the job done. The subtle notes of this exquisite libation would be lost on those louts.
Well said. Now, I believe some Rucarella cheese would complement this Ileana nicely. We'll have to hide the bottle until we can get our hands on some.
Leave that to me.
Wow, talk about oblivious.
Okay, I don't know who was talking to who there, but, you know, whatever.
I gave the boy an apple, too. Aren't
Hey, what's
I
up,
the
Philip?
kindest girl alive?
An apple.
Would you like one? This time I want you to crow like a
No, thank you.
Miss, are you really planning to fight Artorias?
Well, the boy did ask me so sweetly.
But you'd have no chance.
Are you defying me? Did the old man give you orders?
Not at all.
Then you're coming with me. If things get too hot, we can run. And if we die, then...
That's that. I know.
You're a quick one, little Bienfu. But I do hope you'll struggle as long as possible. I need you around for when I'm bored, after all.
What platforms do you even own? Because it just seems like you want to buy a billion games, but don't have the platforms for it, and you just refuse to buy the platform it's on. You know? Like, that's why games have exclusives, you know? So that the console is attractive. That's why exclusives exist. Because it's like you're mad about Switch exclusives, you're mad about PS4 exclusives, you're mad
Is
about
it good?
Xbox exclusives, you're mad about PC exclusives.
It's tart, and yet sweet.
How would you even know what those are? You don't even know what that means.
No thanks. I wouldn't be able to taste it anyway.
Oh,
You sure like the sea?
Dude,
I'm
Lafayette
afraid
is
of the sea,
super
the waves,
freaking styling.
sharks.
You got it, dude.
all the strange fish. But at the same time, it's huge and full of wonder. When I let myself think about what might be over the horizon, it's exciting.
My brother, he loved the sea too.
Your
So far,
brother?
agree. Yeah.
Really?
Story's still kind of meh, but
He'd sit on the cave.
it's mostly just the writing, not
staring
really the
at it.
premise. The premise is fine.
I told him he'd catch cold in that ocean wind, but he never listened to a word I said. Your way of looking at the world is so much like his. I wish I bought him that compass. I wish we could have traveled together like he wanted.
Hey! The scouts are back, everyone!
Lafayette, you know you don't have to do this if you don't want to.
I'm going with you, Velvet.
I see.
Hey, what's up, Wozel? Thank you for the 14 months resub. Thank you. I guess we're going this way now
You
for
say
whatever
he was
reason.
using a pendulum?
Aye, sir. And he blasted all the inspectors. I think he'd be a match for even the captain.
Thank you. I'll look into this for myself.
Hold it. What's going on?
The Exorcist inspection team was attacked by a pendulum-wielding Moloch.
The same type of weapon was found at the place the captain vanished from.
And so you think the attacker is the one who took the captain?
I don't know, but this can't be coincidence.
Ifrit is in the custody of exorcists. Why would they attack their own?
What will you do? One of your keys is running off.
I'm going after him. If they're already in disarray, causing more confusion will only benefit us.
Pandemonium! My favorite! Eisen sure picked an inconvenient time to run off, though, didn't he?
I can't blame him. He's got his own purpose.
Nope. I saw the freaking whatever they're calling, and I'm just like, nope.
I'll finish this now.
Hope this works!
Well, Switch has a disgustingly good library. I would always recommend it. Always recommend it.
I won't
Hey!
Desu.
Wow, you're good, whoever you are.
I'm Eisen, the Reaper, and Ifrit's first mate.
A buddy of Ifrid's? Oh, this'll be too good.
So you are the one who took Captain Ifrit from us.
It's
Oh,
Ulbrich.
yeah, that's the spirit, pal.
Eisen, calm yourself. He's a Moloch and he's against the Abbey. If we work together, we can pass the barrier.
Don't give me your peacemaking crap.
I'm settling this my way, right here, right now.
Stay out of this!
I see. Well, two can play at that game. I'll handle this in my way. I'll beat you both until you're helpless. Then open that barrier.
Why does it have to be like this?
Oh, be quiet and help Velvet. Otherwise, she'll bite our heads off.
True. Forgive us, Eisen.
Yeah.
Hurricane! Disruption! Form 2!
How's that? Let's go! Hey, form 3!
Kick him in the face. Beating up our own party members.
How's that? Stop! No escape! How's that? No escape!
Just fall down already. There, come on.
Disruption! Hurricane! Disruption! No escape!
Dude, I like Mally Mako, Mo, Spelly Girl, whatever. She keeps throwing spells at them and they freaking get card blocked. Ow, 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 ow. I really don't see the point of a block or dodge mechanic in Tales games half the time because it's usually like you have to have impossible recovery time or reaction time.
You know that? So, what's your plan
And it's just
after
like
you
they end up
punch
being
through this
worthless.
Kill the shepherd.
barrier? Damn, that's a new one.
She's dead serious.
All right. You won the fight. What do you want me to do?
Are you ready, my merry little Malakim? Now, line up before the barrier.
Yeah, pretty much every dude in this game is either a kid or an edgy dude.
Rest is up to you. I just want to
Edgy
see the
McCool
panic
dude.
on the Exorcist's faces.
Hold it. I still have questions for you.
That's enough for now, Eisen. If you persist, one of us will end up dead.
Who are you? Tell me.
Zavid the Whirlwind. A
Oh
fighter,
man,
nothing
he's
more.
from frickin' Berseria. I knew I hated him when I first saw him. I knew there was a reason why I hated him.
The barrier's gone. I won't
I
stop you
hated
from going
Zavid
after
from
him.
Berseria.
No. I walk with you. Besides, Melchior is still my surest link to Eifried's whereabouts.
Could have saved a lot of trouble if you'd listened to me from the start.
What's the lore?
If I had good judgment, I wouldn't be where
Cosmetics.
I am in the first place.
The same reason why that dude
Love
has glasses and blushy, cheeky thingies. Just cosmetics. Tales games do not take themselves seriously at all, not even the slightest. And the thing is, like, there's a good way to not take yourself seriously, and then there's the Tales way, and it's bad, I think. So I double down on it and make them, see, like stupid hats and headphones and really dumb cosmetics. So because of that, I doubled down on it. Like Final Fantasy, there sometimes won't take itself seriously with some silly jokes and fourth wall breaks, like Prompto humming the Final Fantasy victory theme or something like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, it's kind of fun, nice and subtle, right? But this game like goes full on like hokey, you know, cheap, like cheap 99-cent store kind of stuff, you know, and it just. Whatever, I just own it, you know. I just own it. I just doubled down on it, you know.
Alive. Just unconscious.
A fighter, not a killer, huh?
I'm extra good at beating up the weak ones. Roll them!
There's like I said, there's difference between not taking yourself seriously and then just like full on stupid, you know. And like it completely trivializes the integrity of the plot and the story when you do something as completely silly as what these games do. And I haven't actually played a Tales game where the story was actually compelling and interesting in any way. It's always usually pretty generic anime plot, and this one isn't much different. It's an okay premise, but like they just lack the ability to write it well. They just lack the ability to write it well. This game is actually connected to Berseria. It's like 100 years later or something weird like that. Ow, 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 ow,
Come on, really?
Reason to play Berseria? Yeah, I mean, mechanically Berseria is a little bit of the weaker one because they have a lot of really silly 1,000 years before. Oh, whatever. I don't really care. I'm not really invested in the story all that much. I like Velvet as a character. She's pretty cool, but the rest of the characters are pretty generic anime tropes, and I'm not a big fan of that. You know, I'm okay with some tropes, and there's better ways to do tropes, but this way isn't it, you know? Just really, really, like, freaking going ham on the tropiness. Just shows a lack of imagination, not a gentle nod to, you know, tropes. There's good ways to do it, and then there's lazy, I don't know what else to do ways. I mean, just because it's an anime game doesn't mean it has to fall like straight to the tropes every single time, because like I said, it just shows a complete lack of imagination. Like, the only thing we know how to write is tropes, and so we're just gonna keep writing tropes forever and ever and ever, and it's just like, can you not do that all the time? Can you actually try to do something unique and special, you know? Like, the difference is who betrays who, or what, you know. Like, if you just change the name of a lot of things, the story is almost exactly the same to almost every other tropey anime Tales game. You know, you change Fawn with, you know, whatever arts or whatever the name of the magic is in the world with, you know, Abyss, and it's the same story, you know? This guy is the twisting character that's actually this, you know, it's actually that, and I'm actually your brother, and, you know, just change it. It just change the name, you know, it's the same thing. So, like I said, it just shows a lack of imagination, and I'm fine with tropes. I'm fine with tropes as long as they're part of, like, side content or side storytelling, or, you know, like, your main story should have integrity. It should have value and meaning. And if it's just another trope on top of trope on top of trope, it's already been written the exact same way 50 million times, and it gets tiring. And I think the reason it's tiring for me is because I'm freaking 37. You know how many times I've seen this exact kind of trope? It gets old real fast, you know? Yeah, it's exactly it, Fawnmaster. It's an incredibly volatile market because of exactly that. It's just 95% of it is tropey, rehashed, rewritten garbage. Exactly. And I love this game so far. It's actually a ton of fun. And you can kind of like ignore the plot and the tropiness to it, and it doesn't really bother you all that much. But when it comes to reviewing a game and telling everybody, hey, how's the story? I'm going to tell them, it's just anime tropes so far, which isn't really engaging, you know. But the gameplay is fantastic. Visually, the game is probably the most impressive visually Tales game I've ever played. A lot of ground clutter, which is actually pretty meaningful, despite it only really having, like, there's only 2 flowers there. Well, actually, they're actually sprites. Oh, man. That's actually disappointing. So you can tell they're sprites because when I rotate the camera, they always are facing the same direction. So it's not actually 3D blades of grass. So you can see it's individual clumps. You can see it's an individual clump. That clump right here, this clump, this clump, this clump, this clump, this clump. And then there's, I think, about 4 or 5 different unique clumps. And then just dot the landscape. And it's kind of disappointing because those are sprites, which are 2D. They're 2D sprites. The reason you can tell they're sprites is because they always face the same direction. You can't, when you rotate the camera, you can see them turning with you. That's how sprites work. And it's actually really disappointing for a game made in like, what, 2014? That should be actual 3D blades of grass and flowers that you can walk through and they move away. Like even World of Warcraft had grass, like grass clutter in like 2010 that moved when you walked through it. And that's like a 20-year-old game engine and they managed to update it to have that kind of feature, you know? Like that's disappointing. Like visually, that's really lazy. Like really, really, really lazy. The bush is 3D because you can tell that when you turn the camera, it changes. But what it is, it's a series of flat 2D images, or sorry, flat 3D models kind of pieced together to make it look like in a box formation, to make it look like it's a bunch of leaves and stuff. And it's a common strategy for that kind of thing. Trees and bushes are really, really hard to do that way. Like even World of Warcraft does it like this, which is, I'm using that example again because of course I used it prior. But the ground clutter being all 2D is really kind of a oof. Really kind of a oof. Even PS3, dude. PS3 is more than enough to, you know, more than modern enough to do that kind of thing. It's not really an excuse. It's kind of lazy, you know. Granted, Tales games tend to have a lower budget, so I understand taking, you know, cutting corners and finding the cheaper way to do things and make it still look good is important. And technically, I didn't even know that they were sprites until I looked at it, and the ground clutter seems okay. But it's not. There's not a lot of different unique types of sprites, right? There's like maybe 4 or 5, and they just dot the entire landscape with it instead of having like, you know, a ton of detail. But I would say the landscape in general is really nice. It's not just here's a flat plains, go straight on the super duper omega flat plains. There's actually, you know, variation in the terrain. When you get into a battle scene, this is actually the same part of the map that I was at. You can see the tree that I was sitting under when I got ambushed there. So that's really cool. I like that. That's actually pretty cool. I don't know how they did that, to be honest, because like it must be that the game, like the battle engine is different, and they just copy paste the map of your position into the battle scene or something. I don't know how they do that. It's pretty cool though. But yeah, there's like actual variation in terrain and bushes and trees and you know, things in the way and stuff on the edges, and it's pretty good for a Tales game visually. This is one of the most impressive visually. Right, exactly. What it is it's acceptable. Yes, for this era of a game, absolutely. It's not bad, it's not great, but it's okay. But the major flaw in the visuals comes from the design and the animations.
The guards are all Malachim.
The facial animations.
They really do keep humans away from here.
But why build a new temple out here? The shepherd could build in the capital just as easily.
I don't read manga.
This place.
You feel it too?
There's powerful
I'll explain why,
flowing
Fawnmaster, why it
underground.
matters. I'm in agreement,
Right.
but I'll explain why it matters.
This is a focal point of the Earth Pulse, the natural energy of the land.
The perfect spot to worship Enominat.
Possibly Rakurai.
Or to attack him.
Hey, Ray Chase, what's up, buddy?
No one to enter.
Forgive me. I would not have intruded, but there was an incident at the villa in Logres.
Eleanor, where are your Malachim?
They were eaten by the left arm of a demon.
Velvet.
What? You know of her?
She was a student of mine. So she has bested Oscar, Teresa, and now you.
Lord Artorias, I ask that you grant me fresh Malachim. I vow to destroy that demon.
You are overcome with emotion. Will you fight a demon with your hatred?
Just joined my party already.
Please, I beg you to forgive my foolishness.
She broke the resolve of even an exemplary disciple like you.
My lord, if I may, there is but one thing I must ask. Why is there a giant demon held captive at the villa?
Entry to that place is forbidden to all but legates, Eleanor.
It was restrained by a Moloch barrier. How could such a monstrous thing like that be held in the capital?
Eleanor, why is it you think that birds fly?
Because they got wings, duh.
Huh? It's so they can hunt and catch prey, is it not?
You are dismissed. That knowledge is not for you.
Failure! I need pink-haired pigtail girl in my party now!
So Velvet is coming. The ties that bind us must at last
She also has a
be
spear,
severed.
so I mean, it's like 3 for 3. All right, so let's talk for a sec because I don't want to get into another cutscene. So, Fawnmaster, you said graphics don't matter if the gameplay is good. Agree. However, a very important thing to note is that graphical aesthetic and effort do matter. Also, having interesting locations that are fun to be in also matters. And when you make a let's use a dungeon example. Let's use I Am Setsuna as an example. I Am Setsuna's dungeons are just one tile. You know what a tile is? A tile is like one square block. Let's look at Breath of Fire 2. You go into a dungeon and you have one square block. That's a tile. Okay, a tile set are a matching set of tiles that build a hallway or a room. In a lot of dungeon design, it doesn't matter the graphical fidelity, which is like how detailed and how many polygons and how ultra 4K whatever it is. That's fidelity. Graphical fidelity does not matter. You are absolutely right. However, graphical detail and aesthetic do. So if you take a tile set, which I explained earlier, and you just make a hallway attached to another hallway, attached to a room, attached to a hallway, it doesn't matter how many paths you have and how non-linear it is. It's still just a bunch of arbitrary hallways with a tile set that's pre-generated that is just run through on a mouse dragging. You know, you just hold the mouse and drag the tile set across. Boom, you got your hallway. Dungeon made in 15 minutes. You know? No, that's an example that no one would get because hardly anybody here has played Neverwinter Nights or knows what Aurora Engine is. So no, it's not an example. You have to use examples that people know and understand and can relate to. So anyway, the point is that when a game has like a limited graphical fidelity, they have to make that up with graphical flair and design and interesting environments. You know, you don't have to have ultra 4K super duper visuals, but you do have to have a level of detail, you know? Like look at, God, there are some old, like look at FF6, okay? When you get into Narsh, there's so many different styles of houses and things going overhead and, you know, barrels and crates and steam wheels and gears and stuff. There's things all over that make the city alive and it comes to life with just 16-bit graphics, you know? It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's awesome. This game is trying to break free of that. Here's just your generic straight path, go down it, one tile set, the end, you know. But it's still, you can still kind of feel that sort of lower level of detail when you only have 4 types of bushes, 1 type of tree, and then you just copy paste it all, and it's in an array. It's in a nice array, so it feels fresh and invigorating and unique and detailed, but there's actually quite a bit of lack of effort put in there, and that's fine-ish. And again, visual, graphical fidelity doesn't matter as much, but using what you have and the resolution that you have